about it.
Nice.
But I think somebody could have even done
0 out of 5.
Hannah.
1 out of 5. I just
2 out of 5 and 4 out of 5.
I'm not good at.
Okay, now let's go over this. What'd you do?
I am just not good at these.
Fell while skiing on ski bus.
On the bus?
No!
Yeah, they forgot that she was getting on, and so she was like in the doorway.
And then they closed, yeah.
Okay, okay. Listen up. This is my last day with somebody, so I want to end this on a helpful note. This test was designed had a couple things in mind. One, did you learn anything? B, could you, if you were asked to, could you arrange some of these events in order? In other words, do you have a sense of when things happen? And C, are you getting better at mastering the details of a lot of information? And this was not an easy test. I mean, it was not an easy test, and it's not supposed to be. It also, by the way, could you guys put away the calculators? This is sort of great.
Grace.
I want you to listen, because I'm here to try to help you out. There were multiple ways for me to figure out if you knew what you were doing. But just put your hand down. I'll call you in a second. I'm going to go over all the answers, okay? When you get to next year, you're not going to have me unless you take an elective. So that might be a relief for some of you. That might be a tragedy for others of you. But you won't have me next year because I don't teach. Nobody in our department teaches 2 years in a row of core classes. And there's a reason for that. Because each teacher has a different style and a different way of teaching, and you should be exposed to different ways of hearing information and learning. Having said that, if you master my test, taking scaffolding, how I put a test together, if you got 80% or better on this, you're in pretty good shape for next year. If you got below 80%, there's probably some things you could have done differently without spending a lot of time on it that would have improved your average. And one of those things that you're going to learn more about next year is that some teachers prefer to give simply essay tests. Some teachers prefer to use, like I do, a variety of methods like chronology, true false, multiple choice, fill in the blank, math, essay, that kind of stuff, and primary sources. So the more instruments you can play, so to speak, the more practice you have trying different ways of being tested, the less surprised you'll be when you see somebody else's test. Now, Miss Nay's test dealt with the same kinds of ways of asking you questions. She had multiple choice, fill in the blank, short answer, math, and stuff. But Miss Hunley or Mr. Fulton or Mr. Grant, and I'm not saying that they don't use some of these same things, but they don't generally use as many of these on one test as I'm sort of likely to do. So, bottom line, short answer is, there are strategies that you should be getting better at figuring things out. Like, for example, start with chronology. You don't have to know any dates to get all these right.
In this class.
In these questions.
In this class.
No, I'm in this format, in a chronology question, what you need to sort of have a good idea of is the big picture. For example, let's look at the first five things here. There are some clues that I've built into the questions which were big, fat pitches that were designed for you to hit the ball, so you would know something about where to start. So, Emma, what's the earliest thing in the first 5 events?
Death of Confucius.
And how do you know that?
Yes.
Is that really the right answer? I mean, is that how you figured it out?
Well, all the other ones I knew were later, so.
Okay, okay. Did anybody know about when Confucius lived? So nobody knew. Okay.
Well, I didn't know exactly, but I know we learned about it last year, and like chronologically, that was before what we're learning about this year.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Do you remember the century in which he lived?
No.
No, I don't know. I'm just thinking.
No.
Nobody? Okay.
Not at all. No.
Okay. Okay.
No.
So let's suppose you don't know. Let's suppose. What other hints are here? Natalie, I'm trying to teach. Please don't talk.
I'm discussing this.
That's the point. I can't do this for these people if you're talking. Please? Okay. Andrew, same for you.
Nailed that section though.
Okay, okay, that's what I'm trying to get you to do, is could you explain how you nailed it? What's one thing you knew that maybe you didn't know, you didn't think you knew, but you figured it out? How did you figure out the right answer?
He guessed. Who are you kidding?
You know, I just
Okay, if you can't tell me, then it's not helpful. Anybody, Costa, how did you do
took
this?
this and that.
Do you have, is there one event here that you know when it happened?
Like,
No.
like the actual date.
Well, like the actual century.
I know it. I knew it when like I took the test. 'Cause I just.
It's just, okay.
Okay, but I mean I know what they are like in relation.
Well, for example, look at number 2 or number 5. Which happened first?
No
What
idea.
happened later?
By definition, what happened first?
5.
The hijra. What's the hijra?
That's like.
What is it?
It's moving from Medina or Mecca to Medina.
It's when Muhammad was chased from Mecca to Medina. If you knew that one thing, you would have to figure out, well, that had to happen before the Abbasid dynasty moved to Baghdad, because how could there be a dynasty of Muslims when Muhammad hasn't created one yet?
I think
Okay.
you should have graded these more on merit because I put 5 before 2 and I still didn't get any points on that one.
Okay, merit.
Yeah, me too.
It is. Seriously, Maggie, listen. I'm trying to help you.
Okay,
What do
everyone
you
else
mean
says
by-
they guess.
What do you mean by merit?
Like, good job, you got that part of it right, but you didn't actually get it right.
Why
I
don't
don't
you
know
just
what
say
you're
good
talking
job,
about.
Megan?
Okay.
You did that part right.
I'm trying to give you some strategies that would come in handy, because you're gonna see this kind of test for the rest of your life while you're in school, whether you're in high school or college or graduate school.
Nobody
Multiple
else
choice
knows.
questions matter. If any of you have any intention on taking anything like the SAT test or the AP test or the PSAT test or the PLAN test, these are the kinds of questions you're gonna see. And I'm trying to show you, you don't have to memorize dates to get the ideas right, to get them in order. So, for example, there's no way there could have been the hijra
Okay,
after.
No, I put that down
Okay,
as.
okay, well, so
but
let's
I
go.
still
let's-
get any points.
It's because you put them in the wrong order with other events.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. Graded on merit. It's like.
Okay, show me your thing later, okay? What about the Song dynasty? It says ends in China. Now, it doesn't say when does it end, but is there anything? How do you know that it's the most recent thing?
We don't.
Well, some people do.
They guessed.
Yes.
Ask them. Okay, did you guys guess?
Ish.
You can't get 10 out of 10 and guess.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. There's a chance.
Okay, there's a chance.
Okay.
Okay, but you're not, would you put that away? Here, give it to me.
No.
Give it to me, right now. Sarah, give it to me.
Wait, Mr. Herrick.
I'm not kidding.
Emergency.
You wanna go down and talk to Mr. Jaffe about this?
Mr. Herrick, what if there's an emergency? Should we call someone or mom tries to call?
I'm not interested. Now, if I have to ask you guys to leave the room, Sarah, I will do that. And you can go down and sit with Mr. Jaffe and explain why you were kicked out of my class. Okay, I'm not kidding around. I want to help you, but I can't do it if you're giggling and taking pictures.
Good response.
All right. I'm gonna try one more, and then if we don't get anywhere, we'll just stop. Philip, on the second bunch of events here, on this second group of 5, what event of any of the 5 are you comfortable knowing roughly when it happened?
I don't know.
Well, do you know what century Muhammad was born in? Was it before Christ, after Christ, way before Christ?
But not long after.
It's like the most recent.
It's about 500 years after Christ. Okay? Now, if you don't know that, if you don't know that Islam came after Christianity was well established, then you really haven't learned it.
Then shouldn't the question be Islam established after, like, instead of Muhammad born?
Well,
We
if
don't
you
know when
notice,
he was
well,
born,
Muhammad-
and we don't know how old he was when he established. So that
That's
is
good.
a
That's
good
good.
question.
That's a good question.
Jesus died before Muhammad.
Obviously,
Yeah,
600
but you don't
years,
know anything else.
Sarah, 600 years before Muhammad, Jesus dies.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, now, we talked about Caesar. You read about Caesar. You don't have to know when Caesar lived or died, but you should know that it was before Christ. It's BCE. Okay? So, I'm giving you, in other words, I'm not putting events here that are very close together. They're separated in many cases by hundreds of years. Not always, but some. So, you could miss one, and if you got the rest of them in the right order, I tried. Some of you